The man who shook the entire world with his satanic clothes was a serial killer, or would he have taken the lives of innocent people? You can't even imagine that he is not a serial killer, but a devil who does not suck the body after killing, but eats it, or keeps its body parts stored in the refrigerator. Now imagine that this person is like forgiving. What do you know or anyone else would feel so strange while sleeping when you get to know about this serial killer or his story? The breath became cold. I am now the most haunted American serial killer, and everyone knows the name of Jeffrey Dahmer. The biggest question that came to my mind was who was this killer? Or who committed this murder? Or which human being caused this murder? Without wasting time, let's start the video and let's explain the case and discuss all the activities. Jeffrey Dahmer was a man who shook the whole of America with his sexual crimes, and it seemed that he had instilled a fear of his name in the hearts of the people of America. The most interesting thing is that people did not know what he did to 17 innocent people in his past after killing them. Was this just a result of loneliness? Or was there something more scary hidden inside him? Today we are going to tell you about this serial killer, so stay tuned till the end of the video. Jeffrey Dahmer was born into a very simple family, a very simple boy, who had done what he did, which is why he became one of America's most haunted serial killers. But what you did was to make everyone believe that this is what a simple boy did in reality. Or as he grew older, he killed his teacher in a way that no one could even imagine. He showed such dreams to his teacher that his soul was crushed. Or did the dream appear to those people who became victims of it? And who was it? The Milwaukee Monster, or a mentally ill man, or a mastermind serial killer? The answer to all of these was in his dreadful or evil intentions. After all, his evil intention has raised this question, which till now has not been answered. Or there is also a question that how many people has the killer killed so far? This killer committed many murders from 1978 to 1991. Some murders have been solved till now, but some murders are still no less than a mystery. Who did not stop Jeffrey Dahmer during these 13 years, or what Jeffrey Dahmer did from 1978 to 1991? Because in these 13 years, he took the lives of 17 innocent people. But the question is that even during these years, who did not stop Jeffrey Dahmer? Who did not stop the police? He is also a serial killer and did not catch him. Was it the failure of the society? Or was his cleverness so tremendous that the police or anyone else could not suspect him? This was the reason why the killer was not caught. A seemingly calm 18-year-old boy named Stephen Hicks became Jeffrey Dahmer's first apprentice. But the question was, how did this killer enter the world? Please share your opinion in comment section. When the killer gave Stephen a lift in his car in 1978, you can imagine the consequences of giving a small lift. Dahmer invited him over to his house. We had coffee together. Dahmer made him his best friend, but at one point, when Stephen was about to leave Dahmer's house, Dahmer hit him on the head with a dumbbell. Had killed me out of madness. But what to do as Dahmer was just angry for a moment. This Dahmer committed his first murder in such a plane that the question also remains that how did he save himself after the murder? On November 20th, 1987, while visiting his grandmother in West Allis, Dahmer met a 25-year-old ADMI from Ontonagon, Michigan, Stephen Tuomi, at a bar, and invited him to the Ambassador Hotel. What was done to him made him lose his senses. The killer separated Tommy's head from his body, or separated his hands and legs from his body, then cut his flesh into pieces. I started cutting or removing the bones from her body. Imagine if this happened in front of you, how the situation would have changed at that time. Then complete your conversation badly. You should focus on the case now or until Dahmer put the meat inside a plastic garbage bag and stored it in the refrigerator. Or he wrapped the bones inside a sheet and broke them into pieces with a hammer. Now you think about whether this is an animal or a human being. It took Dahmer about 2 hours to complete the task. He threw all of Tuomi's remains, except the severed head, into the trash. But one question is still in my mind when it happened, that everything happened. Who did not inform the police, or when did the police inform about this? Why did the police not take any action on what happened, or what was the secret of the apartment? Who did not know, or the police did not find this body? Or who helped the police? The hell of her apartment. When the police entered the apartment, at first they thought that this would be a normal investigation like the police always do. If the police has come to the house, they have come to notice. Or it should also happen. As soon as the police approached the house or stepped inside the door, a strange smell welcomed them. Or the police started their investigation that they started searching for this dirt, or even after searching every corner of the house, they did not find anything but that dirt was still there till the last room was left or it was dragged. Slowly, the police team started pulling, or that ass got pulled, or JB police pulled me. Opened the freezer, and what was inside shocked everyone. Can you imagine how a man can turn his own house into a laboratory and a graveyard? Police found human body parts, skulls, and organs meant for consumption. But the question is, was all this the result of some distorted mentality, or was there something else devilish growing inside him? But a question has also been raised that why does this killer escape every time, or is it because this killer has not been caught for so many years? How did Dahmer survive for so many years? 13 years? Yes, Jeffrey Dahmer committed 17 murders for 13 years. But why did no one catch him for so long? Was it his cleverness or the indifference of society? Before 1991, the police heard complaints against him several times, but released him every time. But how could it be that such a dangerous person was roaming around freely in the sky without any worry? Why was he not arrested till date even after committing so many murders? Was it because most of his victims targeted the weak people of society? Or was it the biggest failure of law in society? Do you know that there was also a victim who wanted to be killed with a hammer but could not be killed? After all, how can this happen? A serial killer lets his victim go easily. And who was this person? In this case, there were some interesting things or some secrets about which no one knew. In this case, there was a name that changed the direction of the story: Tracy Edwards. Who was Tracy's opponent? Tracy Edwards, MBE, born on the 5th of September 1962, is a British sailor. In 1989, she captained the first female crew in the Whitbread round-the-world yacht race. She became the first woman to win the Yachtsman of the Year trophy and also receive the MBE award. She has also written 2 books on her experiences. Number 1. Maiden. This book is based on her yacht race journey and the story of the first female crew. Number 2. Living Every Second. This is her autobiography, which tells the story of her life's struggles and successes. The serial killer Dahmer had his eyes on him. He had already thought in his mind who would be the next target, and the next target was none other than Tracy Edwards. And that night of 1991, Dahmer had kidnapped her and brought her to his apartment and was trying to tie her to a chair. Was Dahmer trying to do the same thing with Tracy Edwards that he had done in his first murder? This was going to be Tracy Edwards' last day. Dahmer tried a lot to tie her up, but Tracy's fear made him brave. It is true that when a person overcomes his fear, he makes even impossible things possible. Do you know how Tracy would have freed herself? She made such an excuse that misled Dahmer, and as soon as she got the chance, she ran away and called the police. If Tracy had not run away that night, this story would probably still be incomplete. When the police took pictures of Dahmer's apartment, they were not just evidence. They found something that blew their minds. And what was it that made the police stop there like a moth? Every picture had blood stains, chopped bones, and they were kept inside the freezer. It seems that this killer preferred to eat humans instead of food. But the question is, did Dahmer have any remorse for his crimes? Or did he believe himself to be right? There are so many questions, but no answer. This time the police had a lot of evidence against him that he was pointing towards the killer, and finally one day the police caught this serial killer. No one knew how and when he was caught, and why. When Dahmer was presented in the court, there was silence. He accepted all his murders. But the question was he mentally ill? His lawyers called him a victim of necrophilia and mental disorders. But the judge said, this crime is not the work of perversion, but the work of the devil. Even the people of America were agreeing on this because only a devil can do such a thing and such a murder because according to me, it is difficult for a human being to do this. Please do share your thoughts about this serial killer. Should Dahmer get justice or the families of his victims? This question still remains. After all, this killer's life would have been in jail. Has he committed any murder there or not? How would his life have been in jail? In 1992, when Dahmer was sent to jail, it was not a punishment for him. He himself had said, "I am here, where I should be." But he was not safe even in jail. Why would he have said this?